business owner shit. So all of a sudden,
Never
start
stops.
getting a billion messages, and unfortunately, then all you can think about is the message that you received. You're just like, I
100%.
want to focus on what I got to do, but I can't.
Yeah, exactly.
So I broke my nose in 2012.
Okay.
Broke my nose in 2012, flag football accident.
Yeah,
Me and
that'll
another
do
dude,
it.
Yeah, dude. Me and another
Yeah.
guy, we just like fucking dove for the same ball
Right.
and collided faces. And my
Okay.
nose was like this
Yeah.
because his chin hit me going like that.
Right.
And ever since then, it's definitely been off.
Right.
And then throw in Sarah's. When
Right.
you're getting people like that you're trying to clear an arm from a back take and they smash down on your face.
Yeah.
And you see a little bit of blood comes out. I just feel like it hasn't been clear.
Right.
That's my problem.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I don't know if a deviated septum surgery is what it is. And then you look at our sleep patterns and you start thinking about like, well, I'm not sleeping the best that I could.
Right.
Do I have sleep apnea?
Right.
Is it because of this?
Yeah.
If I get this fixed, is it going to help sleep and just in
100%.
general?
Yeah.
Because I definitely feel it when I'm like going heavy at the
Right.
gym or jiu-jitsu or whatnot.
Yeah.
I can tell that I have to start breathing through my mouth at a certain point. I can't just
it'll hurt your wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hurts your wind big time. I know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you were saying you constantly have to deal with that? Was it an injury or was it just...
I had 2 reconstructive surgeries. So I had one. My first one was a street fight when I was younger. And yeah, like me and this dude, he was a tough dude and he just threw an overhand right at me. And it was just the close your eyes haymaker. It landed just right on the side of my nose. So my nose was underneath my left eye. So I was probably like 17, 18. And I came home and my mother looked at me and she just shakes her head.
Yeah.
She didn't even say a fucking word to me. You know what I mean? I'm like, let me go downstairs. So I went downstairs.
When you had that surgery that first time, did they do it the same day or did you need to wait because it was so swollen?
I had to walk around for 2 weeks. So I went to she ended up taking me to the ER, about 2 hours later, whatever the case may be. And the ER told me that there was so much like swelling and inflammation that they had to wait like 2 weeks. So I had to walk around with my nose underneath my eye for like 2 weeks.
And how was breathing? How was breathing out of that?
It's horrible.
Oh,
so I couldn't even breathe out of it. It's horrible.
And then what was the second time?
The second time was a Metallica concert. Yeah.
Was it worth it?
Yes, it was worth it.
Was it mosh pit?
I would do it again. It was a pit. I've big metalhead. For since I was a kid. And, I was always in the pit, no matter what my size was. And the funny thing is, like, even going to all those pits when I was younger, never had an issue. I mean, I got beat up, but, like, nothing like that. I'm 240 in a Metallica pit. This was, like, 2008. You know what I mean? When they hit Master Coliseum. Lights went off and just somebody must have, like, punched me in the face or something.
Oh,
yeah.
Man. That's why I was always...
Because it was in the dark.
I always kept my distance from the mosh pit.
Yeah.
Whenever I go to a rock or a metal concert, I'm always somewhere in the background.
But it was, because it was messy too. Like there was blood all over me. Like I probably looked like a maniac from the stands.
And I'm sure nobody else fucked with you the rest of the night.
Nobody wanted to go near me.
Yeah,
It might have been a disease thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what this motherfucker has.
That guy's blushing over there, bro. That is fucking crazy.
I don't know what kind of disease he has. I'm gonna stay away from him.
Yes, Mr. Kenji. Yes, that's Mr. Nutriwolf, and you're the wolf. Yes.
You are the real wolf.
Yeah.
Fake wolf compared to you.
Come here.
Yeah.
Speaking of Nutriwolf,
yeah.
The business has morphed over the years, let's just to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
We should start back to like obviously when we met at Bev's,
right?
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It just
when was that anyway?
Oh my God. I mean, it had to have been. I joined Bev's 2011, 2012, so it had to have been.
I would say around there.
Probably about that time.
Yep.
Probably, I think I met you when I got back from college because I came back from college in 2014, 2015.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I started to do the videos around 2017.
Because that's when I did my first show. I think it was 2014, I believe.
Yeah.
What
a crazy journey, dude.
Yeah.
It goes by so quick.
It's so fast. And I feel like, I mentioned this to some of my younger employees. And I'm like, once you guys hit, like, I feel like, I don't know, I'm throwing an age out there, but 25.
Yep.
It's like somebody hits fast forward on your life.
Creepy.
You know what I mean? It's scary shit. And, you know, I'm doing everything I can these days to, you know, try to make use of my time, you know, without fucking off though, at the same time, you know what I mean? But I'm going to enjoy myself here and there. Like if I can get to the beach in the summer, I will. I don't spend nearly enough time at the beach. I love the beach. You know, I feel like just in retrospect, looking at how fast life moves, work your balls off. But at the same time, to take those moments here and there to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, you got to have fun.
You know what I mean?
Be able to appreciate the
Right.
time.
Absolutely.
You know, you listen to all these, you were saying you listen to podcasts
Right.
and stuff like that. And it can be difficult because social media is a great thing, but it also makes you a comparison type of, you know, thieving the joy. A comparison to thief of joy is the age-old, you know, saying.
Yep.
But it just, you have to be able to have those moments where we have to be able to relax.
Right.
Because there's plenty of times where I do have that time as an entrepreneur, as somebody that works for themselves.
Yep.
You know, I won't have a shoot maybe for a couple of days and I'll be sitting there, you know, a little low key, finished all my edits. I, you know, have some podcasts to do and whatnot.
Yep.
I'll almost feel guilty that I'm not doing something.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
Like you start thinking about every podcast you listen to and it's just like grind, fuck it. Like, and you go, okay, I get it. But at the same time, where's the balance? Because there needs to be. Otherwise, you burn yourself out, or you just get so materialistic in the long run, and you grind it out to, okay, great, you got the Lamborghini, great, you got the mansion, but like you missed out all the time on your with your family, and now they died, or you didn't get to see your dog that you bought because you know you wanted to get a companion in life, and you know they were home all the time by themselves, and now they're old and frail, and now you wish you had them when they were a puppy again,
Absolutely.
Almost like we take for granted some of the COVID time, COVID time was fucked up. Let's be honest. We all know this.
Fucked up.
We all know this. But on the opposite side, let's just say that first 2 weeks, if we all knew on the other end we'd all be fine, we probably would have taken that not for granted. You know what I'm saying? We would have probably sat back for a second and just been like, everything's gonna be cool in a couple of years. Like right now, it sucks for this time.
Right. It's a tough time right now.
But if we just kind of chill for a second and like gather our thoughts instead of that panic. So you almost take it for granted in the long run.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% on that. And, you know, I'm a big proponent of massive work ethic. I work my ass off and I love it. You know what I mean?
I don't want to cut you off. I can attest to that. You work your fucking balls off.
100%, you know, and I just try my best. You know, I get up every morning, man, and I try to give it 100%. And, you know, some days I don't, you know, I don't achieve, you know, the daily goals that, you know, I want to achieve. But you know what? I go to sleep, I get up the next day and I try to do it again. You know, and I try to achieve those goals day after day. And after a while, I feel like, you know, you're making deposits in that bank account of work ethic. You know what I mean? And it'll benefit you in the long run. You know, but agree with you in the point that, you know what, if you get a small area of time where
opportunity.
That you want to spend time with, you should. You know what I mean? Because everyone's not going to be there forever. You know what I mean? So
I think that's one of the worst feelings mentally for me. Is that as I'm aging, my mother's aging. Because my mom, I'm super close to my mom. So it's like that always kills me.
I as well.
The thought of just mom getting older and she's she's late 60s now, you know, mid to late 60s now. And it kills me that she's still working her ass off because she can't, because of just her industry, the mortgage industry is just dog shit. Ever since 08, you know, it's ups and downs. And it's
nonstop. So
it's nonstop. And I feel bad because she doesn't have the opportunity to retire yet. I love to see my mom be able to just relax. And just enjoy life because she has worked so fucking hard.
And she deserves it.
Exactly. She's worked so hard her entire life. And unfortunately, she's had people fuck her in business and just like really not do right by her and just screw it up where she should have been retired 5-10 years ago. But she can't, and she has to keep going. So it just, you see stuff like that and you just, you have the mentality of like, I need to do better, so I'm not in that position. But I also watch that constant grind has also broken down for her in terms of like being able to enjoy.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that. And, you know, there's certain situations that just suck in general, you know what I mean, that just life throws at you, which brings us back to that point of if you have an opportunity, a small opportunity, spend some time with some people, you know what I mean? Spend some time. And because again, they're not going to be there forever. You know what I mean? So
I've become more cognizant of like the spending your money on trips and experiences.
Absolutely.
Versus material items. Because like you start, I mean, even in here, I mean, you're looking at my studio in here. There's a lot of gear in here that I just don't use. I bought it for a shoot. I thought I was going to use it all the time. like, oh, this is gonna be sick. I'm gonna use this all the time.
Yep.
And then you just wind up not using it ever again. You're just like, wow, that was $1,000.
Right.
Could have went on a trip.
Or
I could have rented an RV, taken a trip across the country with the dog.
Yeah.
And documented it.
Yeah.
Like fun things I could have done, but like you spent the loot and you're just like, you can't regret it, but you have to learn from it.
Absolutely. I always wanted to go like Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, stuff like that. But my wife, unfortunately, she's a beach person. So if that ever comes up, she shuts down that conversation very quickly.
Well, you got to compromise.
Cool,
you got to do the beach.
Yeah.
You got to do the beach with her for like one trip, and then you go, all right, well, we did that trip. Now it's time to go to Yellowstone.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the beach every time.
Well, I guess you're going on a solo trip. It's just between me and you and Kenji. Now.
Hey, listen, if you want to go, hey, I'm in.
I want to, because I'm pushing more towards my own branded content.
Right.
As the podcast is growing, which I'm very thankful of.
Yeah.
As the podcast
you do a great job.
I appreciate you. For real. I do.
No problem.
And I appreciate every single, if I got one listen, I appreciate it. It can be tough to show up, but like you said, putting deposits in that bank.
Yep.
It can be tough to show up when there's nobody watching in the beginning.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It really is.
Yeah.
Like when you have no subscribers on YouTube and you're looking at the audio numbers because the audio metrics are separate than the views on YouTube.
Okay.
And you're looking at those metrics and it's like 2 views or 2 listens. And then, one day it's 20 and you're just kind of like, really? I'm spending all this time, all this money.
Just say you spend a lot, right?
Yeah, I don't make any money on this. It's just like it's a lot of time, setting up guests, doing your thing. But
I don't think people realize how much time you guys spend on this stuff.
They don't.
It's a lot. It's an investment.
Posting to all the different platforms while at the same time working with my clients.
Right.
Because that's what pays the bills.
Yeah.
So I'm just becoming more cognizant of depositing into that bank of just effort and consistency.
Yeah.
Because you look around at some of the people that have notoriety and fame, and I say fame loosely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But people that have notoriety and that make a living making content, doing their own thing.
Yep.
And realistically, a lot of them just didn't stop showing up. That's what it wound up being.
True.
When no one was watching in the beginning, they just kept, and then all of a sudden, one video threw them over the edge.
It's that persistence.
And it's inspiring, at the same time as discouraging, because that when you look at it, you're just like, how many years is it going to take? Because as humans, we want to have the end goal.
Yep.
We want to know, like, hey, by May, you're gonna have another 1,500 subscribers, and you're gonna start getting paid from sponsors. But that what if is always in the dark gray area.
Right away. Right.
So it comes back to just consistency. It's same thing with you.
Right.
Showing up every day.
That's it.
Doing your best with the businesses. And how your business has morphed. I mean, I think I told you this. I'm not somebody that just pries on people when they come on as guests. I'm not looking for dirty secret, like things that people have done. I'm not looking for the buzzwords, the things. But listen, you've had to deal with adversity and setbacks and changing the name and the brand and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Dude, and I only want you to talk about the things that you're comfortable talking about in terms of like owning the business and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I know you have a ton of just knowledge nuggets that people can just learn from because you've been in the trenches, man. And
I've been through the ringer. You know what I mean? I've been through the ringer. I mean, I couldn't even tell you how many scenarios and how many setbacks there were, but again, for every setback, you put your best foot forward and you just get up every morning and you keep grinding, you know what I mean? And you do what you do. And like you said, with the content creation, you have to have that consistency, because if you don't have that consistency, you're not making those bank deposits of work ethic. You know what I mean? So you're not going to have anything that's going to come into fruition, if you don't put those, deposits in. You know what I mean? So...
and I tell a lot of clients I work with, especially when they have their own businesses, they're trying to promote their businesses.
Right.
It's like all it takes is one video.
Right.
I mean, on TikTok for me, it's like I was getting millions of views a lot on my clips most of the time. Right. And then all of a sudden, I stopped posting for 6 months.
Right.
They put me in TikTok jail.
Really?
That was it. So then even though I have
that's a real thing, right?
Oh yeah. They almost like shadow ban you.
Right.
Because they want to see that you're going to be consistent again.
Right.
So it's been a while.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. It's been a while. I had a couple of, 10,000 view videos, but mostly I was in that
I know. I saw
200 to 300 view club, and you're just kind of going, all right, you get 2 likes. But then you look at the metrics and they're not pushing your content out. So you go, okay, fuck it. But then all it took was one video of Jamal and my last guest, Dr. Eugene, debating about Michael Jordan versus LeBron.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I think it's at where it stands right now. I'm crazy sometimes. Where it's at, I'm up like 500 followers, but where it's at right now is 167,000 views.
Oh wow, it's great.
Yeah. And it's translating to views on the podcast too, because people are subscribing to the podcast.
Okay.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I say all that to say.
Right. Yeah.
It's the consistency that really winds up showing.
Right.
Like you just got to keep showing up. You got to keep posting the content, your business.
Right.
And I've told you this, we've worked together in the past.
Yeah.
I said, whether I come in to do stuff for you all the time or you're doing stuff mixed with me, I said, you got to just keep posting.
Yeah.
Just keep posting your offerings, keep posting deals, keep posting things because my mom told me this a long time ago. When you're not in front of people all the time, they forget about you.
They forget you.
And it's not because they don't like you.
Right.
It's because they're busy with their fucking life.
Right. They're busy with their life.
Somebody doesn't remember, like, yo, Darren's got those amazing shakes.
Yeah.
Darren's got the meal prep. Darren's got all the supplements I need.
Yeah,
and they pass a GNC and they're just like, oh, it's right there.
It's right there.
But then all of a sudden you post a video and they go, oh, fuck.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right.
I got to go stop in at D's.
Yeah.
Like, I got to go check out some of the offerings.
Yeah, you're 100% right with that. And you know, I don't take it personally either with people, you know, in regard to that, you know, and I feel like I do have to fix that. I'm not consistent enough with social media, and that's one of the metrics I have to work on.
But it's tough because you're wearing all the hats like I do.
I'm wearing all the hats, you know what I mean?
And you have to be able to focus on certain areas that matter to the business. And although social media is important, sometimes it goes by the wayside. And I get that. And so many people that are watching and listening, they'll get that too.
Right. Yeah. No, that's true. But at the same time, too, it's also a vehicle for advertising that is mandatory, you know? So I feel like these days, if you don't have a social media, I mean, I don't know, maybe if you're possibly like a deli or something like that, and you have such a consistent base and consistent like morning customer base, maybe you could get away with something like that. But for the most part, you know, a business model like mine, social media comes in handy, you know? So I'm gonna.
I think truth be told, any business.
I do any business.
At the end of the day, if you're selling a service, you're selling a good, you're selling anything, you just got to be in people's face. Let them know what you're offering. Let them know what you know what they stand to attain, whether it's knowledge, whether it's product, whether it's service.
Right.
Because you know, competition is everywhere.
Right.
And you know, just like me, I have a ton of competition in the video creation space.
You got to stand out.
There's a million people.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, people like you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like if there's another independent supplement shop. You know, let's just call it, it's just called CQ. CQ supplements, right? And then Nutriwolf is right here.
Right.
People may see that the same product is there, but they love Darren.
Yeah.
Darren's the guy that I see on the videos. Darren's the guy that I like seeing when I walk in, or I know that's my guy.
Or he takes care of me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He gives me more attention than, you know, XYZ business.
Yeah. So the people invest in people. Just like with me. If there's another video creation team or another agency, because there's a ton of them, if they shoot the same type of videos as I do, the same quality, the same everything.
Right.
At the end of the day, if the people like working with me better,
I was just gonna say,
work with
they're
me.
like you. Yeah. No.
So that's the crazy spin that it all comes on. I have people all the time on TikTok or YouTube that just want to hate.
Right.
And I feel bad for those people. I really do. That just like, I've never looked at a video like of somebody just putting themselves out there, shooting content, their business, whatnot, or a podcast, unless the content's really like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But and even then I don't comment. I scroll past it.
Right.
But these people will throw negative shade at
100%.
They'll dig at you.
Right.
And they'll be like, oh, this is why we don't need any more podcasts, or this is why we don't need any more people with mics. And I had a dude that said that shit to me today, and I just said, just like I don't need your 2 cents, brother.
Right.
You don't like the content, you don't like the podcast, it's cool.
No, that's it.
I don't feel bad about it. Scroll on by.
Yeah, those people just negative in general. I guarantee you, the people who make those comments, they live their life projecting negative energy to everything in their lives. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm a big believer in like manifesting your energy. You throw energy into the universe, it's going to come back at you. Maybe not right away, but it will. And if you sit there running through your life, throwing negative energy and hating on everybody, like it's going to come back. You know what I mean? And on top of it, who wants to hang out with somebody like that?
Nobody. These are the people that have
not me.
That have
for sure.
That have a video up. It has no views, and they're just out here just throwing shade at people.
100%.
It's like, really? This is what you get off on? This is what you get joy out? You're sitting there just like, oh, I'm really gonna stick it to this guy. Another guy that doesn't need a microphone in front of him.
And you know they got
fucking listen, bro.
And you know they got a troll account too.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. No, they have a stalker account for their exes.
100%, bro. 100%.
It's like, all right, bro.
It's a sad life right there.
All right,
bro.
whatever you want to do.
It's a sad life. You know?
On this whole conversation, the cool thing is like I'm trying to get more into the content creation of just sharing my life. I've gotten really into firearms lately. I really have just been enjoying really being proficient with them, training the proper way. Safety, #1 concern every single time I pick one up. Like I'm really trying to do it the right way. And I would like to really train for the tactical games in July, which is like CrossFit with shooting.
Okay.
Yeah, so they do like a mix.
Really? Where they do that?
All over the country. The one that I want to do in July is in New Hampshire.
Okay.
I think it's near the Sig Sauer Academy.
Okay.
So I'm really just getting into that. Obviously, Jiu-Jitsu, which I can't wait to see you back at Sarah's.
Yeah, absolutely. You know,
Jiu-Jitsu
absolutely.
I got so into over the last year and a half, and just trying new things, just trying to be more fun, have more fun.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the monotony of our days just gets in the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when it comes to training and stuff like that, trying new things, obviously like I always will, love bodybuilding over anything like that. So I say right now, but I feel like Jits is an amazing way to just develop discipline, just work ethic, and just like an overall humbling, especially, you go to Matt's school, they got killers in there. You know what I mean?
Forget. Yeah. I really do. Like, I forget how competitive Matt's is, because I'm just used to everybody that goes there. Yeah. I'm just used to just getting my ass kicked or
just paying your dues.
Just paying your dues. Like, because listen, there are some times where I may catch an upper belt with like something that they didn't expect. Yeah. But there are plenty of times where they just beat the piss out of me. And I'm just like, okay, it's another day. Like, yeah it sucks. Don't get me wrong.
What did I learn from it?
And it's discourage,ing, but you learn like, okay, don't extend your limb. They're going to snatch that shit up. Yeah. Oh, if they attack the back, needle through and roll through and just recenter. Like you learn all these little tips and tricks, and I go to other spots. So that's actually funny that we were saying that, because part of the content that I'm creating is talking about like my life, my experiences, stuff that I'm doing, because I'm hoping that it's inspiring to others that want to do it. Right. People want to get into firearms and they have questions. Talk to me.
Absolutely.
Because it's a topic that seems to be very demonized in everything, and it's just like it doesn't have to be. Yeah. We can talk about it. It's been part of the country and our culture for since its inception. Yeah. So, just understanding that this is tools, that these are different modalities or different types of sport that we can get into. Right. Jiu-Jitsu, exactly what you said, humbles the fuck out of you. Yeah. And I have a lot of people that have tried it, started, and quit. Yeah. Because they can't handle that constant ego beatdown. Right. But
100%. Yeah.
Matt's school is competitive. Yeah. Now, I roll at different spots when I travel. Right. And that's some of the content that I'd like to do. I'd like to do like maybe a 2 or 3 week trip.
That'd be awesome.
Rent an RV and go and check out all the different jiu-jitsu spots around the country that people say are great schools. Go train there, bring the dog, document it, have fun. I think that would be fun.
Absolutely. I think it's a great idea.
I think that'd be a fun time.
Yeah, that'd be a great idea.
And I think that's just different content. Sit down, do some podcasts with people in the moment while I'm traveling to new spots. Right. Because I've been to North Carolina, Chicago. I didn't get to roll in Chicago. I wanted to roll in Florida. I may do that in a couple of weeks when I go down there. Right. But when I go to North Carolina to visit my buddy, I go and train down at Charlotte Jiu-Jitsu Academy.
You posted that once, right?
Posted?
Yeah, I saw that.
It's where Brian Battle, the MMA fighter, trains at.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, these guys are fucking awesome. Yeah. Every time I come down there, they're like, we just want you to have fun, Nick.
Yeah.
Like, come through, sign the waiver, and then you're good to go.
Right.
I was like, what do I owe you? They go, we just want you to enjoy and be able to train when you're around. I'm
That's
like,
good dudes.
Okay.
Yeah,
like, it's sick.
Dudes. Right.
But so Matt's school, dogs.
Yeah.
Dogs at Matt's school. Yeah. So when I go down there, I went down there as a 2-stripe white belt. Okay. And this dude was fucking me up. He was a 4-stripe white belt. Right. Fucking me up. Like we were going back and forth, wrestler, this and that. I go back down a year later as a blue belt. Right. And I go back down there as a 4-stripe white belt. Right. He's a blue belt now. And we went against each other. Right. Completely was just mopping him. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. But it just goes to show that you are progressing, even though you're getting your ass kicked every single day.
Absolutely. You're learning while you get your butt kicked.
Yeah. It's such a weird thing.
But you also put a lot of work in too, Like I watch, you put a lot of work in, man. You more than consistent. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like obsessed, which is amazing. And that's how you get good. Yeah. That's how you get good fast.
Yeah. There was a time when I was doing 7 to 8 days in a row.
You told me that. I was like, damn, that's impressive.
Yeah. And now I've toned it back.
Your body must be beat to shit.
It was. My pinkies, my gi fingers are getting crazy. Right. But I've toned it back because I had to focus on recovery again. Right. And the importance of that, especially on the supplement side.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Especially on the physical side. I had to focus more so on recovery and really just take a breath essentially and just be able to chill. Yeah. I don't know if you know Revolution Fitness in Northport.
I'm not familiar.
It's a good spot. They got great equipment. Yeah. Okay. Dude Vinny owns it. Super nice guy. I've done some shoots there before. Okay.
It's like a weightlifting gym, or
it's like strength and conditioning.
Okay, yeah.
I think they have Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu upstairs too.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's cool. Yeah,
I've been looking at gyms to join. Right. No offense to Bev's, it's just like a little far from me right now, and I just with everything being right here, I'd like to go every now and then. But he's got a great spot, so I'm trying to figure out what my ideal schedule is.
Okay.
I want to do gi. No gi, I'm not a fan of.
Right.
I'll do it. Like I'm gonna go tonight for no gi.
Yeah.
But like I love gi. Gi training is my shit.
Yeah.
So Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at Matt's is gi.
Right.
So if I can supplement Tuesday, Thursdays, and one day on the weekend where I go to my boy Tom that does all the crazy kettlebells.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good mix of like we're training every day, but we're not just doing the same thing every day and burning ourselves out. It's just different.
So you're thinking like 3 days a week jits, and then
3 to 4 days a week jits, and maybe 2 to 3 days. Then I'm back out there again. 2 to 3 days.
Then you're back at 6 days.
Weight training. It's just different, right?
Back at 6 days. Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah, it comes full circle every time.
I'm trying to figure it out. But this is part of the problem.
It's rough. You got work. You know what I mean? I'm trying to figure that out myself. You know.
So you also have a spouse.
I do have a spouse, but she trains. She does more of like that HIIT training stuff.
Cool.
You know what I mean? And she's not really like into bodybuilding stuff like that, but like she does her thing. She understands.
Yeah.
And she's super supportive. She was super supportive with me on all my shows. You know.
Number one fan right there.
Yeah, I did 8 amateur shows, and it takes a lot, and you get into like tunnel vision and stuff like that. And I feel like a big problem with some people, you know what I mean? Like if they're in a relationship and they're competing in a show, or whether they're doing jits competition or whatever they're doing, and they're super focused, and they're like tunnel vision. Some people, not all people, but some people like forget that like you got a spouse, you got a girlfriend, you got a boyfriend, or whatever the case may be. And sometimes they can maybe feel like they're on the sidelines. Yeah. It's your job to bring them onto the team. You know what I mean? Like when I first did like my first 3, I did 3 shows in like 1 year. My first, got smoked on fucking every one of them, but it is what it is. I didn't, my wife was my girlfriend at the time, I kind of didn't pay attention to her almost, you know what I mean? And I feel like it strained our relationship significantly, So when I got a little more, like the next year, I realized it, and, obviously I love her, I married her. So, the next year, instead of, kind of keeping her on the sidelines, I asked her to, help me with like, let's say my posing, I started like bringing her to stuff, you know what I mean?
You want to incorporate her into it.
I involved her in it, in my life, you know what I mean? And it got us closer than ever, you know what I mean? So I feel like that was a mistake that I made that I fixed, And then, I mean, you're talking like by the 7th, 8th show, she was like, his front upper body is fucking, he needs to fucking do this, he needs to do that, he's not flexing proper, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously she ain't no expert, but the fact that she can even identify the poses that a bodybuilder goes through was impressive to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is somebody who's never been in like the bodybuilding world or gym, you know what I mean? For that matter,
It's tough, man. It's competing's tough by itself. It's even tougher.
It's tough.
It's tougher. I'll give you a 2-prong. It's tougher when you have a spouse, and it's even tougher when you have a business, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was rough. I mean, even when I was doing, and people are like, you doing amateur shows, whatever, but like I give 100% on those amateur shows, you know what
Otherwise,
I mean?
why do it?
Yeah. Like, granted, I fell short, with everything. Everybody wants to be a pro when they start, you know what I mean? But it doesn't happen for everybody. But, I was running a business. I was running, my store. I was running, a supplement brand, a small supplement brand. And, I mean, I would add 10 hours a day. It's like I would get up, do 45 minutes of cardio. I would do a 10-hour shift at the store. I would go to the gym afterwards, and I would do another 45 minutes of weights. I would pose for half an hour, and then another 40-minute clip of cardio. Like I was getting home at 12 o'clock at night. I didn't even see my, which my wife was my girlfriend at the time. I didn't even see her. And I would do that day in and day out, 6 days a week. You know what I mean? I was killing myself. Yeah. But
I was gonna say, what was it? Were you energized? Were you just totally shot?
I'm just auto mode sometimes. When I want to do something, I get on auto mode, and nothing can stop me from doing what I'm doing. It's simple as that. I'm relentless when it comes to that, and it's one of my qualities, but it could also hurt me at a time too. Circling back to our conversation before about enjoying some moments in your life. A lot of moments pass me by, and people can argue also that what, that's the sacrifice you're going to make if you want to do anything in life, if you want to be successful in anything in life. But also, how important is, your loved ones to you? You know what I mean? So there's got to be some sort of an equation that you come up with to, give the attention to people you love, but at the same time pursue your goals. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's a balancing act. It always is, not everything.
It is. You know what I mean? I feel like that. But at the end of the day, like I said, coming back to it, I get up, I grind every day, and that's all I could do. And I hope that, I will be a successful individual moving forward in my life. And, if I'm not, that's okay. I know that I gave it 100%. Because I'm not going to go to my grave knowing that I left anything on the table.
Yeah, you left a little bit in the gas tank.
100%, dude. No, I'm going to give it what I can give it without, taking advantage of, my family, my wife, and stuff like that. And just try to do the best I can, man. What else are we going to do?
I know.
Here.
I know. This is our time. We're all learning. We're all going, to our knowledge, we're all going through this life for the first time.
Right.
We don't really know what happens.
There's no playbook. That's for sure.
There's no playbook. No.
There's no.
And sometimes we forget that, especially with our parents. You forget that there was no playbook for them, and you think, as a young child, especially, you think that they know all the answers, that they have all the answers.
Yep.
But as you get to their point, like my mom was early 30s when she had me. And I'm just looking. I'm like,
I
don't know how the fuck you have. I couldn't even imagine having a kid right now.
Me either.
Like, what? Like, what the hell? I couldn't even imagine having to just not have a playbook and just try to figure shit out.
Yep.
But I guess we all do. You have the challenges that are presented to you.
Right.
And then you can either take them and learn and run with it.
Yep.
Or you could just, cower in.
Right. You can toss them to the side.
Yeah. You can just cower in paralysis of just not being able to do anything. So it's what choice you're going to take, and pushing forward and just keeping moving is always the best option.
Just keep moving forward. Absolutely.
Yeah. Even if it's like you said, a little bit at a time.
Yeah, that's it, dude.
That's better progress than not moving at all.
Yeah. No, I look at that, and I try that with, I try to incorporate that in business. It's just putting one step forward, inch by inch every day. And hopefully, at the end of the path, I have something that's worth all the effort. You know what I mean? So it's all you could do, but regardless anyway, being just in nutrition, in general, I was a personal trainer when I was through college. I was a personal trainer for like 10 years.
That's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask what came first. Was it the passion for the fitness or was it the store?
Yeah. No, when I went through college, out of high school, I was a mechanic, for like 2 years. Didn't like that. You know what I mean? Always loved cars, especially American Muscle. Yeah. And, I had a Camaro, 88 Camaro when I was 18. You know what I mean? The IROC Z, with the T-tops. I don't know if you're, how old are you again?
I'm 33.
33. Yeah. See, I don't know if you remember that, but
no,
that was like
the cars.
Okay.
I wanted a Chevelle for my first car.
Okay, that's a badass car.
Yeah, I wanted a Chevelle because my dad showed me those when I was younger. I was like, oh, that'd be great for my first car. And then as you get older, you start realizing like, oh, that's gonna be dog shit in the snow.
That's gonna be dog shit in the snow, or the most fun you ever had.
Or the most fun, There's no in between.
Because I'm not gonna lie, there was many nights that when I was 18, I would be at which is hilarious because there's a parking lot that my store is in now, off of Merritt's Road in Farmingdale. And, it's a big parking lot, and I used to do donuts when it snowed in my Camaro when I was 18.
In that parking lot?
In that parking lot, which is hilarious, Well, I worked when I was like 16, I was a cart boy at the supermarket.
Next door.
Yeah. It's Lidl now, but it used to be called Seatown, and literally I would collect the carts.
So do you have a soft spot whenever you see the carts left out in the middle of the place?
I get annoyed.
Yeah,
actually.
you're like, what the fuck?
Annoyed, bro. I'm not even kidding. And it happens all the time. They put them in the back of the store, and like the customers are not supposed to go back there. It's like a loading zone. Like we have trucks that come by and drop off all the inventory and stuff like that. And there's carts everywhere. So I take the carts, I whip those shits right in the back of their store.
Here you go.
Oh yeah.
Little Darren was throwing these in the back in every single night.
So long ago. God,
it's weird how things come full circle.
Yeah, no, seriously.
There are places that I've looked at. I mean, when I came up in Huntington, when I came up here, I would pass this building that my office is in now, in my studio.
Yeah.
I pass this building all the time. I used to park in this parking lot and go out in town.
Oh yeah, okay, right. Yeah, because you're right here.
It's just weird how it all comes full circle.
Yeah, that's crazy though.
Yeah, or you'd pass the house that I wound up renting as my first apartment. Who would have known that?
Yep.
10 years later that was going to be your first apartment right there.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how you start thinking about these things.
And then it's so funny because when I opened the Farmingdale store, when I looked at the Farmingdale store back in like 2013, I was like, oh man, I remember this parking lot. I was like, I used to work at this place. I was like, did the carts here,
You had a broker show it to you? You just saw that it was open.
How did I find out about that? I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't have a broker. I know that. I don't know if I saw.
Which is good. Which is good for you because the brokers are always more money.
Yeah, I think it was word of mouth.
Okay.
I think someone told me like, "Hey, you might want to look at this spot in Farmingdale." Some senior citizen had driven through the storefront.
Through your storefront originally.
Like, before I bought it.
Yeah.
And there was just wood on the windows and stuff like that. And I'm like, and the landlord showed me the fucking place, and I'm like, this place is a fucking disaster. It was a cell phone store, and then some old guy went through it.
Sick.
And then I went in there with the landlord's agent, and there was a fucking pigeon in there. It was I'm like, dude, like I'm not taking this spot, you know. And then I ended up taking the spot.
Yeah, you got great storage too.
Yeah. Oh, great storage. Yeah. Well, it's one of the few retail malls or strip malls that have a basement.
Yeah.
Because they stopped doing those, I believe, in like the 80s or something like that. This building was from 1956, I believe.
Could you imagine if you had to house all of that upstairs?
I couldn't.
The basement?
It'd be impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be impossible. You know? I don't know what I would do.
So you were looking at the storefronts, and then you knew you wanted to make a supplement shop?
Oh, yeah. Well, I had the supplement shop in a gym. Yeah. So I originally had a supplement shop in a gym in 2011.
Which gym?
It was called Infinity Fitness.
I remember Infinity.
Yeah, in Farmingdale.
Right over here.
Yeah.
That was a great gym.
Yeah. My store was the boss's old office.
I didn't remember.
Yeah.
That's crazy because I had visited there a couple of times, and I probably just, without even knowing, just there.
Probably. You know, and then like the gym or whatever, you know, I don't know what happened. It just like shut down. Something happened with the owners, and it shut down out of nowhere. And I didn't get a heads up on it. You know what I mean? So I literally broke down my store in like 3 days because the gym had no power and stuff like that. So I don't know what was going on there. But
shut down.
It was crazy, dude. Yeah, for real.
There were a lot of Bevs people that went there that wound up transferring over to Bevs.
Absolutely. It was an amazing gym.
Yeah.
It was awesome, dude. Sick equipment. It was plenty of room. Like people respected the place.
I don't remember it completely because I only visited there like twice. I remember the parking lot was like an L, right? To get to around the back of it.
Yeah. It was on Smith Street. It was right by UPS, and Adventureland. So, so I was there for like almost 2 years, and then the gym just shut down abruptly, and, I had no spot to go to. And, I was sitting there, I had like $30,000 in inventory, and literally it was like my life savings. I had saved $30,000, like personal training and stuff like that and whatever. And, it was there, and I had to get a 10 by 10 temperature controlled storage facility. One of my boys had a van, and we moved all the stuff within 3 days. So I broke the store down in 3 days, moved into a storage facility, and then people would like hit me up and stuff like that. So I'd be delivering supplements for the next year.
And it wasn't as easy as like what it would have been now with like Instagram,
100%,
mobile payments and whatnot. It was probably way more challenging.
I would tell people like, I'll come to your house. You don't even have to move, whatever. Stuff like that, you know what I mean? And if people like had a big order and they didn't have cash, they couldn't get cash, I would have like a friend of mine run their card or whatever the case may be at the time, and try to do the best I could. And I was going to like carnivals and fairs and stuff like that, and I would bring supplements to fairs because all this shit had an expiration date on it. And I'm like, fuck, I was like, I need to get this done. I need to get this shit sold because it's gonna expire on me. Then it's gonna be useless. And in that time frame, I was looking for a spot and doing that, grinding at the fairs and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a rough time. I'm not gonna lie. And then we ended up finding that spot.
Did you already have the initial name that you changed to Nutriwolf?
No, it was Monster Nutrition.
That's what I'm saying. So it was Monster then. I'm saying.
Yeah, it was Monster Nutrition then. And then it was still Monster, just different corporation name, but the DBA was Monster Nutrition.
Okay.
So changed the corporation name, opened up, Monster Nutrition, in the Merritt's Road area. And then we were good until about 2018. And then unfortunately I got a cease and desist from Monster Energy, and, they hit me with that letter. And I really, with a company with that type of resources, like you're not fighting them. I'm not going to sit there. I had a good trademark attorney and stuff like that I had to hire after the fact. And
I just find it very interesting that they would just find you out of any. It's just is that what that team does? They just find.
It was crazy, I guess.
It's so
I think they
weird.
have like a legal team that
just
literally
looks for people that have the similar or the same name.
I'm thinking they found this through the hashtags. You know,
to me, it doesn't make sense. Though.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck? It's not the same thing. Everybody knows it's not.
And the crazier thing,
it wasn't even the same logo.
Yeah, and the crazier thing, well, yeah, these companies, a lot of these corporate companies. They just think they own words.
They want to monopolize the same
100%. And they know you don't have the resources to fight them. So it's like, fuck you, my dick's bigger. You know? And like, what are you going to do? You're gonna dump $100K into fighting them
and lose.
They'll always win.
Yeah,
and God forbid you lose. You know, we had a good case though, honestly, because we sold Monster Energy there, and Monster Energy actually sent girls there and did a demo with us with the truck and the whole nine. I had pictures of it, so I sent it to my attorney, and I'm like, these motherfuckers said this shit was good in 2015.
Why is it all of a sudden?
They can't turn around and say it's no good 3 years later. And my lawyer's like, you got a good point, and it's a possibility you could win this case, but I'm just giving you an idea what's this going to cost you. And I didn't have the money for that.
Yeah.
How am I going to do that?
Most people don't.
You know,
most modest entrepreneurs don't.
So, and I'm going to be honest with you, between like the signage changes, the clothing, like the legal fees, everything like that they hit me with a bill of like 40 grand. You know, like in general, like when I added everything up, I'm like, holy shit, I just spent 40 grand on what? Yeah. You know what I mean? To get fucked, you know? It really pissed me off, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was fucking angry. I don't
blame you.
Yeah, like ridiculously angry. And you know, and that was pretty much that. And then my attorney was like, you know, you need to come up with a name.
Which is tough because obviously you are so invested in Monster Nutrition.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Excited about
100%.
It. That was your brand.
Yeah,
that was everybody knew that.
Yeah, for like 10 years almost. Yeah. No, about 8 years, maybe 7
Monster Nutrition inside of Infinity?
Yeah. So, but you know, the trademark attorney tells me, you got to come up with your own name. Like you got to make up a word, you know, so it'll be easily trademarked, you know. So we were originally going to be like Nutriwolf, you know what I mean? And he told me, look, if you want to find yourself in the same position, he's like, keep that. If you don't, he's like, make up your own word. So I took Nutrition and Wolf and just made Nutriwolf. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because it's not a word.
Yeah. It's my own.
I got trademarked in less than 6 months by the USPTO. Nice. You know? So now I'm trademarked and I'm good and everything like that. But that's pretty much because people are like, where'd you come up with the word? I just put Nutrition and Wolf together, really. You know? Yeah. At the end of the day. So basically, if lesson learned, if you want to get a quick trademark and kind of undisputable trademark, you got to honestly make up your own word. Yep. You know, so learn the hard way on that one, but you know, it is what it is.
It's good. I like the logo. Know? I like the new name.
You know, so
I got a wolf. It's good.
Yeah, we had the muscular guy before. We had like the muscular guy throwing up a single buy, and you know, we turned him into a wolf. Yeah. You know, that's all. Yeah.
So you obviously you pivot to Nutriwolf,
right?
And then you already had the shake bar.
The shake bar we didn't have that in the gym. We had that in 2014. So we opened in 2013, a full year. We were trying to get get the shake bar ready, permits, all that stuff. And then in 2014, we opened up the shake bar.
The shake bar is a big part of the store.
Yeah. No, it's great.
I mean, whenever I come in to see you, I mean, you get lines of people coming in for the shakes.
Yeah, no, we have pretty good shakes, you know, I'd say. And
being modest, they're great shakes.
Yeah.
He's being modest.
Well, a lot of people don't know I actually hired somebody to help me create those shakes. You know, I used to make shakes coming home, whatever, bodybuilding, things like that.
My shakes never taste good at home.
Yeah. They never taste good.
They never taste good. I even bought a Blend-Tech blender. Yeah. Never tastes good.
Yeah. But it'll get it creamy, the Blend-Tech blender. They're nice.
It's kind of just like, all right. Yeah, it'll get it creamy, but it sounds like, sounds like an A330 is taking off of my fucking kitchen.
100%, bro. It's loud.
I look at the timer and I go,
loud.
There's still 40 seconds left. I'm sitting there with my ears covered like, oh, my neighbor hates me.
It is loud.
Yeah.
It is loud. But yeah, I had originally, I didn't know what I was doing. And I'm like, I'm not just going to throw shit against the wall and see what sticks. So you remember the Energized Cafes in LA Fitness back in the day?
I do, but I really did not go to LA Fitness.
Okay.
I used to always pretend like I was going to sign up. And
on a date 100%. You and everybody else. Yep.
Just to get a different
7-day pass. Yeah. Every different gym.
Yeah.
But I had I was an acquaintance with a guy that managed the Energized Cafes. and he knew smoothies. Like, this was his thing. You know, he would manage a number of them, you know, because they were in X amount of LA fitnesses, you know, around the tri-state area. And I paid him cash on the weekends. And after shifts, he used to come on the weekends and stuff like that. And he would teach me how to make smoothies, and teach me the basics. And he helped me develop my whole menu, you know, and I owe a ton of gratitude to him.
So give me, I don't want you to give away the trade secrets, but give me one point. Why are my smoothies shit at home? Just give me one tip.
I mean, really, it comes to balance. You know, it's not just your protein. It's what you're using for the base, the type of protein you're using, and your actual recipe. You know what I mean? So you have 3 areas of that. Besides having an acceptable blender, you have 3 areas. And if you slack in one area, your smoothie's going to come out like shit.
Yeah.
You know?
It's either too watery or too icy.
100%, you know? And understand, like, people don't get it. I mean, you're talking like, I paid this guy thousands of dollars cash, like thousands of dollars cash, you know? It was worth it, 100%
Well, I was going to
worth
say,
it.
you did the smart thing, which a lot of people don't understand, which is like have somebody come in, show you what to do that has been there before.
Absolutely.
As opposed to you just sitting there wasting raw materials, wasting your time. It's just like, oh, well, that's too much ice, or this base doesn't work, or this and that. But like, he knows what the fuck he's doing.
Absolutely. And, you know, besides paying him when I paid him, you're talking about the amount of waste in fruit, and just like material and stuff like that, and protein. Because I mean, to finalize a protein, you're making a ton of these things. You know, whether it's 6 scoops of strawberry, then you have to realize like what kind of spoon you're using. You have a half-ounce spoon, you're using an ounce spoon. You know, it's a science to it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say it's as hard as baking, but it's definitely, you know, it's definitely a science for the most part.
Which you've learned that side of it too.
It's a balance. You have to balance these fruits to get a specific taste. And if one of your fruits is off, or you're using too much of something, your whole smoothie's off.
Which sucks because, I mean, fruit right now is like $6 for a carton.
That's crazy.
This big.
Yeah, it's crazy, you know. And we're trying to keep our prices low still too.
Because you're a business and you're trying to make money.
Absolutely, you know.
You want to bring quality, but you also have to make profit.
I think some of the corporate places are more money than us for the most part. You know, I do a little research in regard to them. You know, do a little recon on them, see what they're selling what for. And we're still a little bit cheaper. And I think
you're talking
we're a lot
other
better.
businesses that make smoothies.
The corporate businesses.
Corporate.
Yeah, you know, I don't really compare to privately owned businesses for the most part. Like, they could do their own thing. I do my own thing. You know, I want to see what the corporate places are doing, because they're setting the prices for the most part. You know, because if you have a corporate place that's considerably lower than you have to think about maybe lowering your prices. But if your quality is considerably better than them, maybe it's worth the price. You know, so you know, you definitely have to do some recon in regard to what's out there, who's charging what for what, how good their smoothies are compared to yours.
Yeah, and it's always changing.
Yeah,
it's always changing, especially with cost of just like, you know, to do business.
Right.
It's insane.
It's insane in New York. You know, it's like they really, I feel like they don't want small businesses to survive, and they probably don't.
No, they
you
don't.
know, they probably don't.
They'd rather have the corporations, which ironically,
absolutely,
most of which started as small businesses.
Right.
So it's like, you look at these, okay, so they're just 30, 40 years down the line from where I am. So, you know, shouldn't you want me to be nurtured and bring in, because then I'll bring jobs, I'll bring more opportunities in the area.
Yeah, no, it's autonomy. It's 100%. Small businesses have too much autonomy. They can't control you, you know, and they have a problem controlling you. You know, they would rather have 10 Walmarts in one area than 100 small businesses, because it's easier for them. You know, it's easier if they want to pull that BS like they did in 2020 with the mandates. You know,
now we can say it. Now we can
100%.
We can finally say it, because they understand that it was mostly a sham.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was very vocal on you know, my social media. I didn't give a shit about the backlash. It is what it is. But
you came at the other end stronger anyway.
Yeah, you know. And I did notice, though, that they would throttle my traffic on my social media big time. You know, I would post something and I'd get whatever 1,500, 2,000 views on a video, and then I would post something in regard to masks or something like that, and next thing you know, it's like 80 people.
How dare you?
There's no way that that's going to go from 2,000 to 80. You know what I mean? And I was like, this is a bunch of bullshit. And I wouldn't post any BS or propaganda. I would literally poach like that little fucking lawn elf, Fauci. I would post a video of him saying, well, you can wear a mask, but it's not going to do much. And he said that in March.
This is before AI was like heavy on like being
100%.
Deep fakes.
He said that
for the public.
Yeah, he said that in March. I had the video. I screen recorded it.
Yeah.
And then
You gotta take receipts of everything nowadays.
You do. And then he changed his tune. And then, God forbid, you posted that, you would get throttled. People would start attacking you. It was fucked up. What a fucked up time.
Very fucked up, bro.
Fucked up
It was such an interesting thing.
You know,
such an interesting thing to watch. Like,
it's a disgusting thing.
I wasn't allowed to go to Thanksgiving dinner with my grandmother, because my mom and I,
Right.
because we just refused to take the vaccine.
Right.
It's like, we're not doing it. So we're not doing it. And
Yeah.
like, it is what it is. So we had to say hi to grandma through the garage.
Right.
I
Yeah,
was like, this is so fucking ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Like, my cousin could be sick every fucking, since then. He could be sick every single holiday, get the family sick, and we don't bat an eye. You know, nobody bats an eye.
Yeah.
But I remember when y'all ostracized my mom and I.
Yeah.
That's
not right what happened.
That shit was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But you know, now they're
I got receipts on that shit.
Oh yeah.
I know the people.
Now
I got receipts on that.
Listen, man, my cousin's ex-wife now, they were together at the time. Panetti, who you know, John Panetti.
Yeah, good dude.
He didn't have any plans for I think it was Christmas or Thanksgiving.
Okay.
He didn't have plans.
Right.
And John's father is an alcoholic and they don't get along and all this stuff. And I said to my family, I said, hey, my friend's going to stop by because he has nowhere to go. My cousin's wife would not let him stop by.
Wow.
But she let her fucking aunt and all of her people come through. But my friend wasn't allowed, who, because he was in a bad situation with his family.
Right.
He had nowhere to go. So you let him spend the holiday alone, but they get to come through. It was such a weird...
What was the reasoning, though?
I think it was mostly because he wasn't vaccinated and she didn't want him there.
That's fucking wild to me.
Yeah.
Really,
and then guess what?
Yeah.
They all fucking got sick. I didn't get sick. So I'm like, all right, enjoy. Fucking do what you want.
Right.
You know, I'm on X a lot because I'm just watching the news constantly. And there was a report just yesterday. I don't know if it's actually true. So YouTube gods, don't hurt me. But there's a report that says that Putin wants to extradite Fauci for crimes against humanity for COVID.
Give him that little shitbag.
Hey, enjoy.
Give him that.
Good luck in Siberia, brother.
Please, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah, it'd be great. That would be Christmas came early. Because I just don't like, my biggest thing is I don't like seeing evil so openly in view. And everybody just sits there and doesn't bat an eye. Like, yo, listen, man, obviously very different times. I have to speak. I have to speak very like situationally, but very different times. But if somebody like that pulled that shit, like in the 1800s and the 1700s,
they string them up,
dog.
String them up.
They'd shoot them in the street and walk away.
They'd string them up and leave them there for a week.
And that's how they act. And they leave them there for a week to show
100%.
everybody. Like that's what happens when you try to fuck the entire country.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's treasonous shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know? Selling your country out, I can't get behind that shit. Yeah. All the people saying, oh, fuck America, fuck that. Okay, then leave, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're making it worse.
Yeah, he's not out of the woods, though, because, he got that federal blanket pardon, but he don't got a state pardon. Mm-hmm. So, I heard Florida's looking into that right now, you know? Good, lock him up in state, bro.
Listen, man, lock
him up anyway. Give him to Putin, please, before anyone.
Oh, that would be horrible.
That'd be amazing.
Okay. That's what I mean. Horrible for him in the best way possible. Listen, my whole thing is I'm just tired of us getting sold out, and not having our country's back first. Right. I love seeing that Trump is taking care of the people in North Carolina right now. Right. Dog, we've been sending way too much money elsewhere when our people have been suffering. Yeah. You don't have to like Trump. You don't. You don't have to agree with him. Yep. You don't. That's the beauty of living in this country. Right. You can openly oppose the man as a whole. Yep. But what you can't oppose is when he starts taking care of our people first.
100%.
What we've been watching.
That's undeniable.
And that is a tough watch. That has been a fucking disgusting watch the last couple of years of watching other people around the country get taken care of, but our people get the old fuck you.
Maui, North Carolina.
Maui, $750. You them too. North Carolina got it too. But all of a sudden, California, they get everything paid for, right? Because it's Cali.
But you see that interview with Gavin Newsom, and he was like, and his background was actually burnt houses. Yeah. And he was like almost giddy about, well, we're already talking to people to rebuild and stuff like that, this, that, and the third. Why are you giddy, bro?
Because
like
he knows that his
body language,
he knows whatever his plans
crazy.
are going to come to fruition, where he can build the city the way
100%.
he wants.
Right. And it almost, makes me think, but, conspiracy theory time, where's my tinfoil hat?
Yeah, I should keep one on tap.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like,
I actually looked for one just now. Like,
you had a lot of plans on deck ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's just interesting to me.
What do they call it, a smart city?
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, 15-minute city.
15-minute city.
Yeah, but that's interesting to me.
What is that? What actually is that?
I think it's a city that is.
I Googled that. Am I going to get banned?
Who the fuck knows? But I think it's like a 3-mile city or something along those lines, and it's very confined, and I think it's like narrow and up for the most part, where they're saying it's so convenient because you could do anything you want within like 15 minutes.
Oh, here it is.
Like groceries.
No, it's called Smart City.
Okay, yeah.
Smart City. I think what you're saying is something is accurate, but something different.
Right.
Smart city components is a smart city is an urban area where technology and data collection help improve quality of life as well as the sustainability and efficiency of the city operations. Smart city technologies used by local governments include information and communication technologies and the Internet of Things. What the fuck does that mean? That's from IBM.com. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good on that. As I'm getting older, I've had this conversation.
You can hold off on the biometrics. Thank you.
Yeah, dude, it's enough, man. Listen.
Yeah.
I'm not naive like some people.
Right.
I know I can get tracked in 4.5 seconds.
Right.
They know where I am at every
100%.
given second of the day. And
I think it's listening to all of us.
It's listening to us right now. My Android phone over there is listening to me. I'm not stupid. I get it.
Right.
But my biggest thing as I'm getting older is I'm realizing that I just want less and less government interference.
Right.
Protect me.
Absolutely.
Oversee the day-to-day operations of our country, make sure we're safe, stay the fuck out of my life.
Military, courts, national security.
Yep. Stay the fuck
out of here.
Stay the fuck out of my life. Stop spending my and other people's hard-earned money on all of your bullshit, laundering and all this stuff.
100%, dude.
I just, that stuff drives me crazy.
Right.
It really does. And eventually I feel like most people do hit that point where they're just like, why do you constantly, every time I get $1, why are you sitting there with your hand out like I owe you something?
Yes. Well, I mean, between, what is it? Between sales tax, between capital gains, property taxes, et cetera, income tax, we're working till probably July for the government. Yeah. Which is ridiculous. Yep. You know what I mean? And we don't look like Dubai.
No.
At all.
No.
Okay? Fix the Belt Parkway. Shit's fucked up. Okay?
God, this place is a shithole, dude.
For 50 years.
Some of this place, man.
Where's our money go?
There's a lot of days. Yeah. There's a lot of days where I do love living in New York. Right. I really do. There are plenty of days where I'm just like, wow, it's beautiful around here. It's really great. But then you start looking around, you're just like, we are so taxed and build up the ass. Fines.
For what, though?
Fines and all kinds of like extra insurances and all this stuff. And you look around and you just go, oh my God, like for what? Yeah. Like what, really? Yeah. What am I dealing with? There's times where I've thought about like getting an apartment in the city. Yeah. Just like a dope little spot. Maybe there's like big connections in there where I could shoot some content and this and that. And then you start realizing it's like $7,000-$8,000 a month.
That's crazy.
For an apartment.
It's insane.
I'm paying $3,000 over here for an apartment. Right. 2-bedroom. Yeah. But I'm like $7,000-$8,000 a month for some of these apartments. Right. And it's just like, and
you get shit for it.
And it's disgusting in the city.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It makes more sense to just go move somewhere else and just be a big fish in a small pond somewhere and live more day to day and meaningfully.
Well, a lot of my friends that moved to Florida, North Carolina, they're like,
I don't know if I could do.
They're like, why the fuck are you still in New York?
I know.
I said, I can't move.
Yeah, I'm
anchored here with my business. I'm not gonna start over.
That's the thing for me. It's like I have all my connections up here. I can shoot videos anywhere, but it's like if you move, like that's going to be a rough 6 to 12 months of rehashing connections and doing your thing.
If you're a retailer, it's nearly impossible. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you can do it, but
you have your brand awareness right here in front of you.
100%. If you have a company that is mostly like mail order and stuff like that, then it's a lot easier for you. You can move operations to another state. You'd be looking good. I know a couple of my friends that have done that. They're paying less taxes. They got a shit ton more square footage on their facility. But retail locations, like brick and mortar locations.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. So yeah, you could check the phone if you want. Yeah, check.
Turn that off. I had do not disturb on.
It's okay.
Thought that was a pad.
No.
Thought that was a mouse pad.
It's a sign. Yeah, we're very relaxed podcast here. It's okay if the phone goes off. I don't mind. Yeah, dude. I've been looking at. I'm always looking because I just know that I'm probably not going to buy a house here. Right. In the long run. Okay. I just know that I'm going to wind up somewhere. I just don't know where that somewhere is yet. Right.
You got time, bro.
I don't know if I could do Florida. Texas, maybe. Yeah. Maybe. Tennessee.
Well, it's North Carolina, great.
My buddy's been trying to get me to move. He's gonna listen to this and he's gonna like fucking salivate that you just said that. He's been trying to get me to move to North Carolina since he moved down there like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
3 years ago, and my buddy Jeff down south. I try to talk to him. He's in Florida. I try to talk to him, and every time he's just like, "Bro, you just gotta move south, get yourself a little Southern belle." And I go, I get it, but it's not that easy. He's just like, nah, it is that easy. I go, it isn't. You work for the police, bro. Like you're a cop. Like if I was a cop, I'd transfer as a cop. Like it's not that easy. My mom's got to watch Kenji.
Right.
And she's got to take his epilepsy meds every 12 hours. Like if can't be around her, I got to travel for work. I can't just board Kenji.
Right.
He needs somebody that he trusts to administer the medicine.
Yeah.
And listen, I love him to death. He's a needy fucking dog.
Right.
So it's just like, okay, so it's not that easy.
No, it's not.
If I leave, I don't have mom anymore.
There's logistics to it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
And then I lose all my connections for business.
Right.
And the podcast for now. I mean, I'll always be able to get anybody.
Right.
But at the same time, it's just like you lose that momentum.
Yeah.
When I'm, let's say I'm Rogan's or I'm Theo Vaughn or like that size of a podcast.
Oh, you do anything you want. Yeah.
I could record my own episodes by myself and make money.
Yeah.
Until then, I don't have that luxury yet.
Right.
So for right now, we go back to like, I said this to my mom the other night. I don't want to keep going. I can't wait for because the time goes by like that, like we said when we started.
Yeah.
Time goes by like that, and you look around and you go, fuck, it's been a year.
I know.
It's been 6 months.
I know. It's scary, bro.
It's like, wow, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to get my own office. I got one. Can't wait for a bigger office. I got one. 3 years later.
Right.
It's just like, okay. And then like 5 years total, you just go, all right. I can't wait to get a bigger apartment. 2.5 years after I had my first apartment, now I have a bigger apartment. You're just like, okay, let's slow down a little bit. I'm going to be 34 this year. You just go, all right.
Yeah.
I'd like to just be able to just chill. So maybe not looking forward to the next thing.
Right. Yeah. And like the thing is, like, I love New York. You know what I mean? Like, I love the people here and everything like that. It's just, I feel like for what we pay in taxes and the cost of living here, we should be living in a lot better of an environment. Yeah. You know what I mean? A lot better. You know, same thing with Cali too. You know,
oh, dude,
you get taxed up the asshole.
They have destroyed that state. They have destroyed that state.
100%.
What a beautiful place.
Right.
Not LA. LA's a shithole. I hate LA whenever I had to go out there for work.
Okay.
But
I've never been. Yeah.
Monterey. I've heard San Diego's beautiful, but I've been up north, like a little bit south of San Francisco.
Okay.
When I went to a Sony event for the cameras, Monterey. I mean, it was beautiful.
Yeah,
it was so serene, and it was super chill, laid back. You would never even know you're in Cali.
Yeah,
it's like
that's
a small
awesome.
town.
Right.
It's beautiful.
I've never even heard of that town. Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's
nice.
They have this big bridge. They have this big bridge that like is like scenic, and everybody goes to it. See if I there.
That's what part?
It's Monterey.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Right on the Pacific coastline, dude. It's just
That's an anxiety bridge.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I mean, dude, it's ridiculous.
That's nice. That's gorgeous.
Dude. I mean, you look at that and you just go.
It's like Hawaii.
But exactly. I mean, it's right by Pebble Beach.
Right.
I mean, you look at that and then you look in contrast to like an LA.
Right.
Now, when I went out to LA, you see in all the Hollywood films, you see in all these things, you see like this grandiose mansions and this and that. Yeah, that's Beverly Hills.
Right.
It's like this big.
Right.
It's like Manhattan.
I was just going to say,
it's
area.
Manhattan on steroids. That's what it is. So you go, all right.
Yeah.
But then you start looking around and you notice in the city area, especially, every home has bars on the window. And, you know, when I stayed in downtown LA, it sounded like a game of Grand Theft Auto being played outside my window all night. I woke up the next morning. I looked at the people that were in the common area because we all stayed together in the same Airbnb.
Right.
Beautiful loft Airbnb.
Yeah.
I walked out. I went, yeah, did you guys hear that last night, all night? They go, yeah. And I go, where are we?
It's normal shit. Yeah.
Sirens, gunshots, fist fights, knife fights, junkies. You go, what do these people pay for?
Yeah.
This is fucking insane.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. You know, the level of tax that those guys pay over there for that.
They're the most taxed.
They're the most taxed. I think we're the second, right?
We're the second most, I think. It's not a competition I wanted us to win.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all.
Pivoting back to Nutriwolf, I wanted to ask you about the meals.
Yeah.
That would seem to be like a big boom with a lot of companies, especially in the area, around the country.
Right.
The meals, the go-to meals, that helps a lot of people stay on their fitness goals and not have to like count out every single thing. You list the macros. What was that like, venturing from supplement shakes then to the meals?
It was mostly because we had a lot of demand from our customers. So our customers asked us, to do that. I meal prepped for my shows and stuff like that. So, but I wasn't a cook. You know what I mean? So, at first we actually subcontract meals. This is probably like in 2015, 16. We subcontract meals to people, to a company. And the company apparently didn't have a reseller's license. So apparently you need a reseller's license, like a wholesale reseller's license from the USDA. If you want to sell to another business to resell, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I want to sell to you, that's fine as the customer. If I want to sell to another business and then they resell to their customers, you need a specific license for that, And this company didn't have it. They didn't tell us they didn't have it. So I'm not sure who ratted us out at the point, but somebody ratted us out, and I had a USDA agent come in and, with the badge and the whole fucking nine, and he cleaned out my fridge, made us probably throw away like 400 or 500 meals, in the garbage, in garbage bags, and he like poured dish soap on it and took pictures, and I got a written warning from the USDA and the whole nine, and that was crazy, bro,
How do you flash you the badge?
You know what? I don't even remember at the time.
Did he hit you with a trench coat?
No. It was more like opening and then shows you.
Spencer with the USDA.
Yeah,
that you've been in.
He was such a fucking jerk off.
Of course he was.
He was such a jerk off. The state agent, the state New York Department of Agriculture agent, he wasn't bad, but this guy was a fucking total douche.
Sounds about right.
And
Sounds on par.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, what do you? How am I supposed to know that these guys don't have a license? They're not supposed to be selling me meals if they don't have a license. So how's that my fault?
So yes, theoretically, wouldn't it be their problem?
Well, he says to me, well, if you're driving in New Jersey and you don't know a speed limit in an area and you're speeding.
Oh, what a jerk off.
I was like, all right.
What a jerk off.
Guy.
Oh, God.
Right, douche.
What an asshole.
Okay, yeah, that's what he tells me, bro.
Oh,
it's
so
hilarious,
cunty.
Bro. But it ended up working out in the end because, I told the guy, I'm like, yo, you're fucking me up. I'm like, how my business is probably not even gonna survive right now, or we're gonna be on life support, if I can't sell meals. And I'm like, what do you expect me to do? Just man to man, bro. Like I got a mortgage, I got shit, like, what do you expect me to do? He's like, I don't make your own meals, bro. And then like walked away, not my problem, bro. And it's not his problem, and I get it. But at that point, my partner Ronnie had a pizzeria. And, I thought about it. I called him up. I'm like, Ron, do you mind if I, use your pizzeria to make meals? And then I ended up finding a chef, and I would go to the pizzeria at 9:30 at night, and it would be me and the chef, and he would cook the meals, and I would package them, and we'd be there till about 1 a.m., and we did that, and, for a couple months. Then I brought another person in, and then next thing you know, it's X amount of years later, and we're supplying meals for all our customers, and, we took full reins of all the meals, and, so it was an interesting journey. I didn't plan on making my own meals in the beginning. I planned on just buying it from someone else and just selling. It's an easier way.
Yep.
Running a kitchen is a pain in the ass. Anybody who runs a kitchen will tell you that.
I've been there for the content side of things, and I've seen
it's extremely difficult.
It's tough.
It's hard, and especially if you're running stores at the same time. It's not easy, but
your wife's coming to help as well.
Oh yeah, my wife played an integral role in that. She actually critiques me now. She doesn't work in the kitchen anymore with me helping out, but like I'll bring meals home and new meals, and she'll critique it. And she's got a good palate, so I definitely listen to her.
Like Gordon Ramsay, you slide the dish over to her, and you're just sitting there like this.
Yeah, for real. And she'll tell me, she'll be like, I don't like this meal.
Needs more salt.
Yeah, needs something. Yeah. So, but yeah, so that's how that got started, and for the most part. I actually, it was probably one of the best things that happened. At the time it was the worst thing ever. My world just took a shit.
It's crazy
my
because
business.
you had to deal with the monster to switch to Nutriwolf, and then you deal with that shit.
Oh yeah, dude, it was
like double hits.
Yeah, and what about and originally when I first started, the gym just closed on me. Didn't even tell me.
That's triple right there.
Oh, dude, I've been through shit. Like people have when they hear my stories, they're like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me." I'm like, "Nope, not kidding you." Definitely not kidding you. But at the end of the day, listen, nobody has it easy.
And you're dealing with multiple locations.
Yeah, and I'm like I said earlier in our conversation. You get up every day, you do the best you can. Life is going to continue to throw shit at you. And if you lay down and die, then, that's you, but when pressure's applied to me, I excel with pressure. You know what I mean? I don't implode. So,
the great Tony Robbins quote that I always try to remind myself of when shit's hitting the fan a little bit.
Yeah.
Life happens for us, not to us.
Right.
So you have to take these strides and these
absolutely
and these beatings every now and then, and just keep pushing forward. And you learn and you pivot and you do things.
Listen, you turn every.
I'm sure you could have. I'm sure,
100%.
Especially with the Monster Nutrition thing,
right.
You could have just been like, fuck it, I'm just getting into something else. Like,
oh yeah, dude, I thought about that so many times. Like so many times, I couldn't even tell you. But you know what? I get up every day and I don't give up, and that's it. And like I said, I try the best I can, and hopefully, at the end, it'll be worth it. So, but I'll be honest with you, man, I love doing what I do, as stressful as it is, the business side, the administrative side, that people don't see, worrying about like rent and this, and your insurance goes up and payroll and everything like that. Payroll tax.
I was about to say payroll tax has to be the next thing to go, because it's fucking ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
What I hear.
It's ridiculous. And at the end of the day, it's a tax. So let me get this straight. You're telling me that you're going to tax me because I hired people?
I'm looking up what it is.
So I improved the employment rate in the state and the country, and I'm getting taxed for it. Appreciate that.
This calculating taxes in New York is a little trickier than other states. The state as a whole has a progressive income tax that ranges from 4% to 10.9%, 11.7% for bonuses and commissions.
Payroll tax is complete horseshit.
Most of the taxes is
complete horseshit.
Yeah, that's insane. I'm trying to find it can't even give you like an honest answer, because they probably just make shit up half the time.
100%.
How much we take from people today?
Well, hopefully, Donnie had mentioned on a number of his rallies that he wants to get rid of payroll tax. That would be phenomenal.
And he said federal and income.
Yeah, that'd be phenomenal.
Yeah,
I mean,
listen, I'll take tariffs and paying more for electronics made outside of the country.
Right.
I'll take a bigger tax on that, as long as you don't touch my shit when I'm making it here.
100%.
Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah,
I'll pay more for that. I don't care.
Realistically, I mean, if you just did a flat 10% tax across the board.
Some guy, what did that one guy recommend? 20-something, 25%.
Who was that?
I don't know. He put a bill in saying that it would just be a flat 25% fee. Bro,
fuck you.
Get the fuck out of here.
10%. That will pay for military courts, everything else, infrastructure, if the money's used the way it should be used. And I love the whole Doge Department
of Government Efficiency. We needed that.
100%.
How many years have they just been spending whatever the fuck they want, laundering their own money? Right. But then they shake a finger at us for a Venmo transaction for $600.
Yeah, they do it on purpose anyway. They piss our money on purpose anyway, because they can print as much money as they want to.
It's not real. It's not actually anything.
It's just it literally, like, that tax rate is just to keep you down. Yep. You know what I mean? It's to keep you down, and it's to just take away any type of financial freedom that people want to achieve. Yeah. And some people break it, but it's very hard to break it, and some people achieve it, and great for them. I'm very happy for them. I never throw any shade at anybody. If somebody becomes successful, I love it. If you're not a piece of shit.
Yeah. Which there are plenty.
Yeah.
Which there are plenty. There are plenty.
There are plenty. But when I know a good dude and he's doing very well and he's successful, I'm like, fucking yeah. All right. Good for him, bro.
Well, it's exciting because, that's something that I've had to remind myself of over the years, as you watch other people just hit their strides quicker than you, or at a different point than you. Like, if a guy, you forget that the dude's 40 years old and now he's hitting his strides, and you're just like, oh man, I wish I could afford that car or that house or this and that. And then you go, oh wait, he's been grinding it out for a long time.
100%,
I'm
bro.
nowhere near there yet. So you just gotta, I gotta take my lumps and keep paying my dues. I'm never like, fuck this guy. Like, when I see somebody driving with a nice car,
no, it's bad energy.
Thumbs up them. I'm like, yo, this is awesome.
100%.
You gotta just remind yourself that there's enough success for everybody.
Yeah, no, there is. And I always look at like, what is this guy doing that I can incorporate in my life? Is he doing something, or is she doing something that I can incorporate in my business to improve my efficiency, to improve my sales? You know what I mean? So I'm always trying to learn from people.
Which is smart.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I don't hate. I try to learn.
Yeah.
You know,
otherwise you just, like you said, you're dying. You're
absolutely. And it'd be like the people we talked about earlier, you know, how they're going through their life just negative, hating on people, throwing shade at people. Like, what's that going to do for you? It's going to do nothing for you. You're not learning anything.
Yeah. Andre, when he came on the podcast, he had thrown a little gem out there, which I always loved, which he said, that negative comment that person left on my page says more about them than it'll ever say about me.
Absolutely. He is 100% correct.
Yeah. So enjoy that.
He's 100% correct.
Keep posting it. You know, for a long time, I always wanted to be on that internet space. I always wanted positive. Yeah. Like us all. We're human beings.
Yeah.
Man. You don't want to face negativity. Right. People hating on you and being a piece of shit.
That's part of I think it's just a part of human nature.
Such a part. Yeah. And like even when people leave me negative comments now, right? Because
that's not possible. How can people leave you negative comments?
I don't know, when they leave me negative comments, I'll.
It's crazy to me.
I'll write back to them. I'll just be like, damn, words hurt.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just fucking like, you know what I'm saying? Like just play the game back and forth with them. Like whatever. Okay. Yeah. Like you're it
is what it is.
Like, yo, if you were in front of me, never say that shit to me. But it's okay. Though? You're behind the keyboard. Yeah. It's okay.
But thanks for the algorithm boost.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for the downvote. Thank you for this, because now more people see my shit.
Yeah,
appreciate you. And you got to learn how to roll with the punches. That's what I've learned in this space that I've gone. You know, like we started the conversation, building my personal brand, getting out there more, not just for the podcast, but for my own videos. Yeah. I've always been on the other side of the camera besides the podcast. Now I have to really incorporate myself more on the other side of the camera. Show off products that I want to show off my life, show off the dog. Right. You know, I want to talk about these things, and you know, you're going to get the people that do it, but it's crazy until it works. Yeah. That's the thing. Yep, even with the podcast. True. Yeah. You with the podcast, nobody listening, nobody watching, this and that. All of a sudden, you know, you start getting these boosts, and people start looking. They go, "Oh, I never checked out Nicky's podcast before. Maybe like he's getting a lot of views now. Maybe I should check it out." Right. And then they'll be like, "Oh, I was there from the beginning."
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, no, absolutely. It's okay. You were it. You didn't listen to a single episode. It's okay. It's all right. Tell yourself that. I don't mind. It's okay. You were a fan from day one.
Yeah.
So do you still have Deer Park?
No, I actually closed it down.
Close it down. Okay. Yeah. I wasn't sure if you still had that location.
Yeah, no. I was trying to move that location to just a better shopping center for the last like 3 years. It was horrible, you know. And then the landlord approaches, asking for like a 5-year lease, and I'm not signing that. I'm not getting stuck in that for 5 years when I was trying to move for 3. You know. So we're gonna take 25. We're gonna take a step back. And I'm looking to maybe open something up a little bit more north in I don't know yet, but like 26, like definitely nothing this year, but in like 26.
Huntington, man.
You know, I mean, maybe who knows?
Huntington, bro.
You know, but
I'm staying on Long Island. I'm not moving out here. I'm chilling in Huntington.
Right. I mean, I don't know what was happening, but that shopping center was like the worst. And you know, residents like Deer Park residents used to tell me, I didn't even know you guys were here, like. Honestly, I never go in this shopping center, you know? And a lot of people never go into the shopping center. If it wasn't for that pizzeria that was in there.
Like an imaginary shopping center that nobody knows exists.
It's crazy.
You have this like cloak over it when you drive by. You don't even know it's there.
Well, what I think is the issue is it's on Grand Boulevard, and it's got a lot of trees in front of it. It's very recessed. On top of that, we had an Enterprise in the parking lot, and they used to park their cars and fill up the parking lot.
Oh, so it looked like
no one got parking. Yeah, no one can have parking, and that's a huge thing. If I know a spot has no parking, I'm gonna 100% think twice about going there. You know, yeah, for sure, always.
I don't go to Brooklyn.
Yeah, seriously.
First off, it's a shithole. You know? Second off, I don't go to Brooklyn because there's no parking. I don't want to have the stress of like thinking about parking.
Right. Absolutely, and I feel like with that shopping center, like people would fly by on Grand Boulevard and just like
going to Tanger.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, the shopping center, like all the stores like meshed. Yeah. It was the weirdest thing, you know? And this is Deer Park residents telling me that. They're like, this shopping center's not so good. I'm like, yeah, no shit. It's not so fucking good. I've been trying to get out of here for 3 fucking years.
What did you take over there? Didn't you take over a shop?
Yeah. It was a shop called Supplement Kings.
That's right. I remember that. Okay.
Yeah. One of my buddies owned it, and then he like moved more into like manufacturing stuff like that. He's doing very well too. You know, we took that. He gave me a great deal. Cool. You know, I took that. It was making profit for like.
You probably did him a favor, though.
Yeah. And it turned a little bit of profit. It wasn't great, but it turned the profit for the most time. And but like I'm not getting locked into that. Yeah. You know, absolutely not. And you know, I tried to move that store. I had 3 properties that I was in lease negotiations with. One of them was actually, you know, at the lawyer stage, you know, the attorney stage.
So you were getting ready.
Yeah, and the landlord just bailed at the last minute, you know. You know, he was like a foreigner and stuff like that. So, you know, he kind of screwed his own agent, me, and my attorney too, for the most part, you know, because we all were getting paperwork together and everything like that. And he was just radio silence for like a week and a half.
Was that in Deer Park too, or it's a separate location?
This was more north. This was actually Elwood.
Oh, okay.
This was like Jericho Turnpike, Elwood.
Yeah, I know Elwood.
And and he ended up leasing the storefront to a random person that we don't even know about, you know. And he screwed his own agent. His agent called me up and was, Darren, I apologize. This is unprofessional. So that's what happened. Another location that I looked at on DPA that I was about to move in, landlord wanted us. Apparently they like surpassed their water capacity, water usage limit in the shopping center. So we couldn't do anything wet in there.
What were the other shops?
It was a big shopping center. It was like it had the Verizon in it. It had a Jiu-Jitsu place in it, a bagel store, salon.
Just making mad bagels and cleaning hair. And
yeah, I don't know, but Suffolk County's tough when it comes to like health codes and like water codes. You know, for us to put a smoothie bar in there, you know, Suffolk County now wants you to run a grease trap in the concrete. So they want you to run a pipe down into the concrete, into the parking lot. They want you to drop the grease trap in the parking lot and tie it into the main. So you're not allowed to have a grease trap on your premises anymore, inside the store. It's got to be outside in the parking lot.
So doesn't that take major...
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, I had a guy...
renovations if they're not set up for that?
Yeah, I had a guy come. If it's not like retrofitted and it had an original grease trap, you know, you're starting at like $27,500 for that. It's crazy.
And is that on you or the landlord?
No, it's on me. Because I want it in there. Lauren's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not doing that, you know? Because I had a guy that does that. Like, he does that on a regular basis. He came in, gave me a quote. He said, listen, bro, I'm going to say $27,500 for this location. He's like, if I run into problems in the parking lot with the main, he's like, you're looking at upwards of maybe a little less than 40.
So now what's the point of having so they can clean it out just in the parking lot?
I guess so. You know, yeah, that's what I'm guessing. You know, but like, I don't think Nassau County's that strict. You know, Suffolk County is definitely stricter when it comes to that stuff. You know, so that eliminated the fact of putting the idea of putting a smoothie bar in that location, because I was like, I'm not dumping $30,000 into this fucking location. That's insanity.
Maybe if I own
for what?
Maybe if I own the building.
Yeah, you know, you want to give me $30,000 in free rent? Okay, maybe we'll talk about that then. That's fine. But he wasn't doing that, the landlord.
Yeah.
So and then another situation where we had like 5,000 square feet. I was going to take 3. Another woman was going to take 2. This was on Jericho Turnpike as well. You know, I don't know if she was going to do like a daycare center or whatever the hell she was going to do. But I'm negotiating with the landlord. You know, he wants us there. We're doing well. It's almost to the attorney's phase. And then some guy comes in and outbids us, gives the landlord full price that he was asking for initially. And he took all 5,000 square feet. You know, so I don't blame the landlord for doing that. If I was the landlord and someone came and said, listen, I'll take your whole property right now at max price. What are you going to say, no?
Yeah, you say, fuck it.
I didn't even have a chance to counter.
Yeah, okay.
It was just done.
Yeah.
So
he's like, I got what I want.
Yeah. So that was the 3 locations because people are like, oh, don't you say you were going to move from that location? I'm like, trust me, I'm fucking trying. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
You don't just, in a retail location, you don't just pick any location. You know what I mean? Like, your location is huge. And that is, and it goes to show you with the other location, you know, with the Grand Boulevard location. You know, it's a horrible location. There's no walk-ins. You know what I mean? It's literally all promotions. Like, if we didn't do the promotions that we did for the most part and treat customers like super well, that still would have been done. I wouldn't even turn the profit, you know? So
blessing in disguise. Save the money now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, trust me, I don't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
It's a lot less stress off my chest too.
Yeah, and having to split the time between stores.
Yeah, dude. You know, I have no problem with it. I handle it like as best I can, you know, but you know, I feel like this is the time to kind of take a step back, wait till a proper location pops up, and then pull the trigger on that when it comes. I'm in no rush, man.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is.
It'll present itself when it's the right time.
Yeah, I don't want to push it.
And plus, then now I can get you to golf this summer.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
I can get
that's
you to
true.
golf. I don't have to worry about which store you're running.
Dude, I haven't played around in like 2 years.
It's gonna be horrible when I play this summer. But we have to get ready because Ryder Cup's gonna be at Bethpage Black.
Oh, is it this year?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Bethpage Black.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yep.
I've never played black.
I've never played black.
Okay.
I played red.
I played every other. Right.
I played red a bunch of times. I hate blue.
Right.
I do better on red than I do blue, and red's supposed to be harder.
Right.
I do way better at red. but I want to go to the Ryder Cup so bad.
The holes are longer on red.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The longer holes.
Right.
Except for that one, what is it? First, second, third, fourth hole where it's that elevated green that you have to hit.
Oh, yes.
With the super deep on each side.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. That hole gives me anxiety.
Have you done Heartland?
No,
Deer Park and like Edgewood?
I've done the driving range, but I've never done the actual.
Heartland's great.
They have night golf.
They're par threes. Right? Yeah. I believe so.
We should go. We'll go. When it gets warmer out. It's cold right now.
Obviously. Yeah, no, definitely not now. But I tell you, Heartland, it's only par threes, but it's quick and you could do it on the whim.
Just go, like drop it and just go, oh, let's go. What do you know what they charge?
I forgot, to be honest with you.
Other rounds of golf are just becoming insanely priced.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it used to be nice when it was like $50, $40. You go, okay.
I don't see them charging more than $30.
For Heartland, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know what Beth Page.
It's only 9 holes.
Beth Page charging now. Beth Page.
Yeah, I'm sure they jacked up prices as well.
You know what? They've been pretty good. The problem is that they have bots that take up the tee times.
Right.
That's the problem.
Okay.
So you have to go as a walk-on. All my boys bitch about that.
Right.
Go, just fucking go.
Yeah.
Like, let's just go Saturday morning at 7 a.m.
Right.
Go for a walk. Because they keep walk-on slots for people to come through.
Right.
They're just like, oh, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm just like, then I'll go by myself. I don't have to fucking tell you. Let's see. New York State pricing. There it is. For Beth Page. Red, green, blue, yellow. 18 holes weekday, $38.
Okay.
Bro, you can't beat that.
That's not bad.
$38.
Yeah.
Weekends is $43.
And
that's fucking solid.
That's without cart though.
That's without cart.
Yeah.
But that's solid, dude.
Right.
You split a cart with somebody and you're good. Red course is $43 on the weekdays, $48 on the weekends.
Right.
That's for New York State residents. Black course is $70 on the weekday for 18, and $80 on the weekend for 18.
Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. No, we definitely got to do that this year. That's for sure.
I want to play Beth Page as much as possible.
Right.
My boys bitch. They wind up making me go all the way the fuck out east to like St. James. I'm like, why am I going out here?
Yeah.
Beth Page right here. Why the fuck am I going all the way out here?
Were they just sick of playing Beth Page?
No, they don't even play Beth Page that often. They just go on the 4UP or whatever app it is.
Okay.
The Tea Time app.
Yeah.
They go on that and they just see what deals are there. And the deals aren't even deals anymore. So it's like, is it a deal when I got to pay $100 for a round and I got to drive 50 minutes out east? It's not.
You ever play Timber Point?
No.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice course.
I played the one on the south where it gets flooded all the time. Which one's that one?
Peninsula, right? No. Maybe it's Timber Point.
No, I don't think so.
Timber Point's like in Lindenhurst. It's like South Lindenhurst. It's on the water, but I don't think that gets flooded because it's elevated. Yeah.
I'll have to look that up.
Okay.
There's one that I've been to a couple times and it gets flooded when it rains heavy. And
okay.
Kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
And then there was a really nice course in Oceanside that I went to.
Okay.
Beautiful.
What was that?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
The names I'm shot on. But like it was right on the water. It was beautiful.
Right.
It was really nice during the summer.
Yeah, no, some courses on the water are really nice.
I don't know. Something about it. I play PGA golf on PlayStation.
Right.
It's just something serene about just like that atmosphere.
Right.
Of just like nice quiet.
I love it.
No cell phones.
Yep.
Just like, oh man, is this what it feels like to not have that shit on all the time? I want to live in this.
Yeah.
All the time.
It really is a great feeling. It really is a great feeling.
But being a business owner, I got to get you back to work. So
yeah.
How can people find you? Any promotions going on now? Plug the store, plug your business, plug yourself.
Yeah, so we have a meal website called wolfmeals.com. Very easy. We offer like package deals and stuff like that. Like buy 8 meals, get 1 free.
And that's for local.
Yeah, so our delivery radius is like New Hyde Park to like 112 in Suffolk. So you can find us on wolfmeals.com. We also have Nutriwolf.com where we sell supplements and stuff like that. And, we have a storefront in Farmingdale, 319 Northwest Drive, where the smoothies are. So I always encourage people to come by, grab a meal, grab a smoothie, say hi to us, have an amazing staff, and, I'm very grateful for them. And, we pride ourselves on customer service. Everybody says that, but we do it. We connect with our customers. And I got customers that have been shopping with me since like 2011 still, clearly if they still live in the area, if you moved away, you moved away. But, we do right by people, and, the love we get in return, it's an amazing feeling, and honestly, like I got into this, as a personal trainer, just wanting to help people out, trying to help people get their blood work better. by exercising, eating cleaner and stuff like that. And I feel like that's the most intrinsic award, is just to see somebody work with somebody, and then they come back 6 months later and they're a completely different person. Their confidence level's huge, and they're thanking you for helping them. Like, they did the work, so they get the credit. But it's nice for them to just say, hey, listen, thanks for pushing me and giving me a couple tools, so I can, build my body. I could chisel my body, the way I want to. So it's a good feeling, Yeah. As stressful as everything is, I don't know if I wouldn't do it again, to be honest with you, because the books that I have on how many people's lives I've helped change is a huge feeling. It's amazing, and honestly, it's priceless in my opinion. So as stressful as it is, I do love what I do, and I don't want to stop doing it. So yeah,
D,
that's it, man.
Darren, you're the fucking man.
Thank you, brother.
I appreciate it. We've been waiting for this for a while.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to have you back.
I want to chop it up again, actually.
Whenever you want to come
Absolutely.
on, the mic is there for you.
Yeah.
You are more than welcome to come.
I appreciate you, bro.
We could do vice versa. You've always been a real one with me, and always supported me. You were one of my first clients when I started shooting videos. You had me come out, do that big shoot with everybody. I was stressed as fuck when that happened, because there was so many people, and I was like, I'm so stressed out right now. There's like 900 people I got to film.
Was that Richie's gym?
In Queens?
Queens, yeah. That was great.
Stressed, but it came out great. We had a great time.
That was
it was
good
awesome.
times.
So I always appreciated you guys. If you're in the Long Island area, I know I have listeners from all over the country. If you're in the Long Island area, you're visiting, whatnot, definitely give Darren a shout. Go check out the store. Go check out the delicious meals, the smoothies, everything like that. He's a local guy, local business. We want to support that and continue to help fertilize that and grow into the next level, and that just helps the community get better as well. Obviously, the same old age-old sayings. Definitely subscribe, like, comment, share with anybody that will gain value out of the podcast. On that note, I appreciate everybody for fucking with us. But for now, peace.
Thank you.